Try to keep everybody out of. All right, the committee will come to order in accordance with Rule 3C of our committee rules. The chair notes the presence of a quorum. Without objection, the chair is authorized to declare a recess of the committee at any time. This business meeting of the Select Committee is to consider a set of 12 recommendations to improve continuity of government and congressional operations. I now recognize myself for 5 minutes to give an opening statement. I promise I won't use all 5. Today we're taking up our 4th package of recommendations to improve the way Congress works on behalf of the American people. The past 5 months have been like any this institution has experienced in modern times. The COVID-19 pandemic triggered an unprecedented period of extended telework, where members and staff had to quickly figure out how to do their jobs from home. The transition has been bumpy at times, but everyone has worked hard to keep the work of Congress moving forward. The House Clerk's office quickly shifted to allowing electronic bill submissions. Committees can now submit their reports electronically, and members are now able to electronically sign a number of legislative documents. HIR has also worked quickly to help offices ease the technological transition to telework. Over the past few months, this committee has supported the positive adaptations the House has made, but we've also tried to understand what the House might do better. We talked to staff here and in district offices to learn more about the challenges they faced with technology, security, office protocols, and more. We also heard from a number of experts to learn more about continuity of government best practices in the executive branch at the state level and even in foreign legislatures. Our goal was to ensure that Congress, no matter the circumstances, can continue working effectively and efficiently for the American people. The recommendations we're voting on today help achieve that goal. By taking proactive steps today, Congress will be better prepared tomorrow, and that's in everyone's interest. I'd like to thank Vice Chair Graves for all of the work that he's done in helping to develop and bring these recommendations forward, and I recognize him for an opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can think of no better topic for us to be addressing in our recommendations today. The last few months have certainly been a challenge for all of us, but the American people are innovative, and we have found ways to continue working together to get the job done. It is critical that in times like these, Congress has a plan in place to continue working effectively and efficiently for our constituents. As the chair mentioned, we've heard from staff and experts about ways we can improve House operations and provide a little more stability, certainty, and yes, modernization for the legislative branch. These recommendations today reflect those conversations. I want to thank the chair and all of our committee members for their continued commitment to our mandate and our mission in the last few months. This committee has certainly been a bright spot for Congress. As we look toward our final few months together, I expect that our shared optimism and dedication to bipartisan work will continue, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to continue our work, Mr. Chairman, and for your leadership of this committee, and I yield back.
Thank you. I'd like to recognize the hard work that all members of this committee have done to pull these recommendations together. We have a great engaged group, and I appreciate the time that everyone has taken to fully participate in this process. I also want to particularly thank the Committee on House Administration, particularly Chairperson Lofgren and Ranking Member Davis, and their committee staff for their help with these recommendations. Their input has been invaluable, and I appreciate our ongoing partnership. I know we're going to go at ease, but before moving to votes, would any member like to make any remarks? Okay. I will say, before we conclude our business today, I want to again thank the members of this committee for engaging in this process of putting together and passing our 4th set of recommendations, which hopefully we will do shortly. As we all know, this committee doesn't have legislative jurisdiction, but I think we're committed to seeing that the recommendations of this committee are enacted. As with earlier recommendations, we will plan to introduce legislative text to effectuate the recommendations that we're voting on today. And when we have that written, I'll invite all members of this committee to sign on as co-sponsors. And before we adjourn, I'd like to note that we've got a full agenda ahead. We'll plan to use August to iron out a number of additional recommendations we've been working on with an eye toward passing them in September. That said, I look forward to continuing our work over the next several weeks. And with that, we'll go at ease until we have one more member present. Okay, we'll now move on to vote on the recommendations contained in the committee materials provided to members. Without objection, I now call on the clerk to read recommendation 1.
Recommendation 1, each office should have a continuity of operations plan, including minimum safety requirements and an emergency communications plan that is made available to all staff so offices continue functioning for the public.
All in favor of recommendation 1, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. I now call on the clerk to read recommendation 2.
Recommendation 2, ensure that staff have the most up-to-date technology and equipment to continue effectively working on behalf of constituents in the event of a disruption or emergency.
All in favor of recommendation 2, say aye. Aye. Those opposed to recommendation 2, say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. I now call on the clerk to read recommendation 3.
Recommendation 3, establish regular maintenance plans for office technology so the equipment and technology needed during remote operations and telework is functional.
All in favor of recommendation 3, say aye. Aye. Those opposed to recommendation 3, say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. I now call on the clerk to read recommendation 4.
Recommendation 4, crisis communications guidelines for constituent communication, including outreach plans for extended telework periods, should be approved and shared with all member offices.
All in favor of recommendation 4, say aye. Aye. All those opposed to recommendation 4, say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. I now call on the clerk to read recommendation 5.
Recommendation 5, to help streamline casework requests and help constituents better access federal agencies and resources, the House should implement a secure document management system and provide digital forms and templates for public access.
All in favor of recommendation 5, say aye. Aye. All those opposed to recommendation 5, say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. I now call on the clerk to read recommendation 6.
Recommendation 6, the House should prioritize the approval of platforms that staff need for effective telework, and each individual staff member should have licensed access to the approved technology.
All in favor of recommendation 6, say aye. Aye. All those opposed to recommendation 6, say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. I now call on the clerk to read recommendation 7.
Recommendation 7, committees should establish telework policies on a bipartisan basis.
All in favor of recommendation 7, say aye. Aye. All those opposed to recommendation 7, say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. I now call on the clerk to read recommendation 8.
Recommendation 8, the House should make permanent the option to electronically submit committee reports.
All in favor of recommendation 8, say aye. Aye. All those opposed to recommendation 8, say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. I now call on the clerk to read recommendation 9.
Recommendation 9, expand the use of digital signatures for a majority of House business, including constituent communications.
All in favor of recommendation 9, say aye. Aye. All those opposed to recommendation 9, say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. I now call on the clerk to read recommendation 10.
Recommendation 10, committees should develop bipartisan plans on how technology and innovative platforms can be best incorporated into daily work.
All in favor of recommendation 10, say aye. Aye. All those opposed to recommendation 10, say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. I now call on the clerk to read recommendation 11.
Recommendation 11, a bipartisan, bicameral task force should identify lessons learned during the COVID-19 pandemic and recommend continuity of Congress improvements.
All in favor of recommendation 11, say aye. Aye. All those opposed to recommendation 11, say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. I now call on the clerk to read recommendation 12.
Recommendation 12, continuity, telework, and cybersecurity training should be given to all new members of Congress.
All in favor of recommendation 12, say aye. All those opposed to recommendation 12, say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. I now move that the committee vote to adopt the committee report containing these 12 recommendations and report it favorably to the House. All in favor of adopting the committee report, say aye. Aye. All those opposed to adopting the committee report, say no. In the opinion of the chair, 2/3 being in the affirmative, the ayes have it. Pursuant to Rule 5A of this committee, a report summarizing the approved recommendations will be compiled and submitted to the House. Without objection, committee staff are hereby authorized to make technical and conforming changes to the report approved today. In accordance with Rule 5A of this committee, members shall have 3 days from the time of the approval of the compiled report to submit supplemental or additional views which shall be included as part of the report. So with that, I think we just set the land speed record. But again, I want to thank everybody for engaging in this, and I think over COVID, we've all tried to be flexible, and you all demonstrated that today. And again, we'll keep working through the August recess to have more recommendations to move in September. Thank you to the staff for the flexibility in putting this together, and as always, thank you for being part of our event, and thank you to the Brooks family for letting her do this job. She's wonderful. And with that, we stand adjourned. Thanks, everybody.